Type Podcast Studios.
And here we are, episode 1 of our first podcast. This is Denise.
Hi, I'm Denise. I'm the Business Development Director of Asset Training Academy and Tom's wife.
And I am Tom, Managing Director of Asset Training Academy and Denise's husband. Hello, Denise.
Hi there, Tom.
Yeah, so our big day has arrived, and I know this is a day that you've been looking forward to for months to get on screen and have our first podcast. How are you feeling now the big day has arrived?
Wow. Well, it's not something I've done before, so I'm very I'm right now, quite apprehensive. But at the same time, I'm feeling really excited. So I'm feeling excited to talk about our company. Excited to talk about the journey we've been on, and excited to think about the guests that we're going to be interviewing over the next coming weeks, and also to talk through what comes next for asset training.
Yeah, and to be fair, it does feel a bit strange. It almost feels like we're having this conversation that we have on a Saturday morning with a cup of coffee in our hand. The difference is we've got 20 cameras in our face. So it does feel a bit strange. But I do think it's a really good way of getting the message out there in terms of what we do and how we do it. I think we've been guilty in the past of, we've been very good at doing the stuff, but maybe not telling people how well we actually do it. You mentioned it, and I'm quite excited because we've got quite a few exciting guests who are going to be coming along, who are going to be talking about various aspects of leadership, of management, of performance management, of personalities. So I'm certainly looking forward to it. For our viewers, it might be worthwhile just giving a context to how we got here today. Let's just cast our mind back 24 years to when we first met. Where did we meet?
We met in Temple Bar over in Dublin.
Good. That could have ended the podcast then and there. We did indeed. Cast your mind back to then. Did you ever think, after that first meeting, that 24 years later we would be running a training company together?
If I cast my mind back from what I can remember of that time in Temple Bar, I never thought we'd be together in 24 years. Let alone running a training company.
Thank you for that. That's something we will pick up on a little bit later on. When I met you, I'd been in the training game for a number of years. And after we met, I continued to be in the training game. You joined the company in 2012. And I'm interested, what were your initial thoughts when you joined the company? Because in actual fact, it was your idea to join the business.
Well, you're right on that. It was my idea. And thinking back, I mean, I was on a bit of a career break at that time. Having gone straight from college into the world of work, I'd done quite a lot working in educational establishments. Started my very early career with the NHS. I was there 10 years with the NHS. And I did a lot of admin kind roles with them, and I've sort of worked my way up before moving across to work for University College Salford, where I joined their undergraduate admissions team. Again, learning a lot of new admin skills, a lot of business skills, before undertaking my first role as a manager, where I moved across to, again, education. It was BTEC, the exams body. They were opening up some satellite offices across the country, and I was the office manager there for the Salford Quays office. And again, that was admin, business and management. And then after that one, my fourth one was I moved across to the corporate world, and I worked for a large legal firm, and I'd say that was my first stab at taking on a leadership role, because they'd introduced this new project where they wanted someone to head up this new initiative looking after the paralegal teams, and they wanted someone to come in and head it up, and that's what I did. So I was with them for 10 years, and looking back through all of that, I'd learned a lot of skills. So in 2012, I was on a career break at that time. I'd taken some time out to look after my mum, who was quite poorly at the time. And of course, we had our daughter, and I wanted to spend a little bit of time taking care of her before joining primary school. So at that point, I was ready. I was ready then to take on my next role. And it just so happened that looking at what skills I could bring to the party, they were exactly the kind of skills that you were looking for to complement what you did. Hence, Asset Training Academy.
I think for a lot of people watching this, it was the classic scenario. I think I'd taken the company as far as it could take it. And I think when you're on your own, you're doing all the doing. So I was training 3, 4, 5 days out of 5. Well, there is no time to build the business, to deal with the accountant, let alone set up a website, which would have been a bit of a novelty. And it was around that time, it's when we just talked through it at that time, I suddenly realised, that you did have a skill set, granted very much in the corporate world, that you could bring into our business and take it to the next level. I've watched you over the years, because you have brought a lot of skills into the business. You've also learned an awful lot of new skills to meet many of the challenges that a small company like ours goes through. What have been some of the main challenges you've sort of faced?
Well, there's been a lot of challenges along the way. I mean, I came in very experienced from a business perspective, from an admin perspective, very experienced, and I think it was going to be a bit of a walk in the park, just coming on board and setting up a website, going ahead trying to get hold of some customers. I just thought they were just going to start, the phone was just going to suddenly start ringing, and inquiries were going to come in. And then I realised that in actual fact, being self-employed and working for yourself, in a previous life, if my computer crashed or went down, I had an IT department I could ring who would come along and fix it. Or if I needed some help with interviewing new team members, I'd have a member of the HR team to come in and help me interview staff. And all of a sudden, I found myself wearing so many different hats because there was no support mechanism. And the challenge was I quickly realised that you had to become an expert in so many different areas. And each one of them was a full-time job in its own right. So it was a very, very steep learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Spinning plates, juggling balls and such like. I was naive enough in the early days to think that to build my business as it was then, all I needed was a laptop and a projector. And then you suddenly realise the complexities of it. I have a question for you, and this question will set the tone for the whole day, whether we have lunch together or separately today. Because I did have my concerns, not about you, the person. My concern was, could a married couple work together? That sort of grated on me a little bit.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that in the years that we have worked together, you will have hundreds, possibly thousands of pluses working with me. What have been the main pluses of us as a married couple working together, and any negatives, any minuses?
Well, I mean, you're right to mention that, because it is a difficult one. I think sometimes most people, when one of the couples wants to set up in their own business, the other person has got a steady job, so they've got a steady income, so they don't need to worry about cash flow and paying your bills and stuff. It was a big decision, I think, for us to do what we did, because we had to make it work. We were dependent on making the business a success. So I think because of our backgrounds, we've had very similar backgrounds from an educational perspective. Obviously, I've come from a family where I've had 3 elder sisters who've worked as teachers. You have had your mum who worked as a head teacher. I think education is a big part of our lives, and so I think in terms of getting the business off the ground, we've had a common interest, and we've been able to support each other. I think in terms of, if I'm down, you can pick me up. If you're down, I can pick you up, and I think it's worked for us. We do have a tendency to talk shop a lot, but I think overall it's been a good move. I think it's been the right move.
And I think a lot of the negatives you could turn on their head and they're actually positives, and vice versa. I think the pace of decision making is great because we live together.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Yeah.
We don't have to call a board meeting because we live together. A big advantage is we can talk about the business anytime we want.
Yeah.
But I guess the downside is we talk about the business anytime we want. And that can be a bit of it gets in the way of everything. And, you know, what is a holiday? Because most of our holidays are spent doing that. But definitely pace of decision making, talking about the business, I've found that a real benefit, and it seems to work. I think my initial worries have been alleviated over the years. Here's a question for you, because before you joined the business, you just knew me in a personal basis. That happy-go-lucky chap that would sit and watch TV in his vest of an evening. Any surprises seeing you in a work context?
Seeing you in a work
Yeah.
context.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you paint a really romantic picture there, Tom.
Oh.
Me seeing you in your vest.
Yeah. Lovely.
But yeah, to be honest, I have been surprised. I have been surprised in some of the feedback that we get. Obviously, you leave the house at 5:00 in the morning and you don't come back until 7:00 at night, and I do wonder what you're doing, you know, during the course of your day. But certainly for our training courses, we do ask people to fill a feedback sheet in at the end of their days of training.
What have you got there?
And I have been pretty impressed, I
Have
have
you?
to say,
Have you?
with some of the feedback that we've had.
Oh.
Now, don't get carried away.
No.
I'm
Oh,
only
you're
gonna
going to read them out? You're going to read them out? Okay.
Maybe
yeah.
one, or maybe I'll just indulge you with one.
Well, you've got two or three there. Let's not
Okay.
hold
Let's
back.
not be shy. Right, okay.
Okay. What
This
have we
one-
got? What have we
Which
got?
one? Which course was this? This was for a presentation skills course. A client over in Liverpool.
Oh, yeah.
Right. This course was such a good experience for me. Tom is incredibly easy to listen to and very clear.
Easy.
He made the
Just bear with me. Easy to listen to. Yeah.
Okay. He made the course entertaining while highly informative. The content is spot on and his experience sharing was very helpful. It was awesome to be able to openly share my experiences and fears.
Just
Tom,
Oh, that's got an
Okay.
E. AWE. Some. Yeah.
Tom took the time to listen to each of us and gave us really useful and personalised tools.
Yeah.
I would recommend this course to anyone.
And you know, it's that type of thing that keeps you going when you get that type of feedback. What else have you got?
Oh, God. Right. Okay. Tom was brilliant. This was one of our bigger clients. Tom was brilliant, engaging, and learned lots of new skills and knowledge, such as behaviour and personality types, and how to become an effective leader. The delivery of training and learning about DISC went well. Thank
All
you.
right. Yeah. Oh, we might come back to that a little bit later. Any others?
I'm only going to indulge you, Tom, with one more.
Okay. Who's this? What one's this?
This is this course is for our Train the Trainer course. Fantastic 2 days.
Oh, I know this one.
This one, do
I know
you?
this one. Yeah.
Tom did an amazing in capitals job of delivering
Capitals.
of delivering the
I often
course.
think when people put capitals in, they really mean it, don't they?
Yeah. Making it relatable and relevant for all attendees. The anecdotes and experiences from Tom went so well. Fantastic course. I think we'll leave it there.
Can I see that one
I
for a
think
minute?
we'll just leave that one there.
Can I see that one for a minute? Yeah, you missed a bit out. You missed a bit out. When Tom spoke, words became a symphony of sound.
Yada 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 yada. Okay. But joking apart, actually, there's a lot where that came from. And I do have to say,
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
although you are the MD of asset training, one thing that I think shines through from comments like that, and there are a lot more where that came from. So on a more of a serious note, I think I see you more as an educator than an MD. Yes, you are the MD, but I see you more as an educator. And perhaps you'd just like to share what your secret is.
Well, to pick you up on that, I would agree with you. I am an educator. I go the extra mile. For me, it's about really helping people to grow and develop. But there is a downside to that, and the downside is that you spend so much time doing that you don't grow the business and focus maybe on the business side of things internally. And we come back to that's what you've brought to the business.
Yeah.
In terms of the secret, it's not magic, and I'm going to be very boring. It's down to hard work. It's down to experience and feeding off the experience that you gain. A bit like yourself, Denise, I've been very, very lucky. I was in the NHS for 14 years, where I had a fantastic grounding in the field of training and development. I then found my way into the oil industry. That took me around the globe. I was going to places I'd never... that you would never think about going to. Unfortunately, they don't have oil in Mauritius or Hawaii, so I was going to places you probably wouldn't go to on holiday. But I learned so much from international travel and international work. I came across people like Carol, like Graham, like a guy called Paul that you've never met. They were big influences on me. And again, a bit like yourself, I come from a family of teachers. My mum was a head teacher. I learned a lot from her about education, about developing people. And funnily enough, my dad, who wasn't an educator, he was a musician. And I cannot tell you what he told me about connecting with people, engaging with people. And I think if you'd ever asked him, do you think you're quite influential in this field? He would just have looked at you. But he was a big influence on my life. In terms of how do you do it, I think there's a lot of training providers out there that if you looked at a training course that 5 of them provided, the content would be very, very similar.
True, yeah.
For me, it's the Coca-Cola, the Iron Brew ingredient, which I'm not going to divulge because that is what I think separates us from other companies.
Yeah.
And I know very humbly we're talking about me, but the trainers that we take on, I think we've got a fantastic bank of trainers that share our philosophy, and we try and get them to deliver training the way that they would like it to be delivered. And I think that's the magic formula that I like to think separates us from others. Yeah. And the other thing is, you might not agree with this, but I sometimes think you've got to have a bit of humility. I mean, I've delivered something like 8,000 training courses.
Yeah.
If you average 10 people per course, I've probably had 80,000 people through my hands in terms of training. Wouldn't you think I would know it all? And you don't. This is the type of job, the more you do, the more you realise you don't know, the more that you maybe have to learn. So that I think there is a secret ingredient, but it is very much the how you deliver it, not so much the what. I would suggest. On the subject of actual courses that we deliver, because I've been surprised over the years. I was surprised in my early years that anybody would want to buy anything from me. But in terms of the actual training we deliver, the courses we deliver, have you been surprised in any shape or form about the type of training that people want from us?
I mean, predominantly, we do, our most popular courses are the 1-day management skills, the 2-day essential leadership skills. The Train the Trainer is also a really popular course, and the supporting business skills courses, the time management, presentation, that kind of stuff. One course that has surprised me is the self-esteem and confidence and the assertiveness 1-day course that we offer. And it's not just the course, but it's the type of people that are applying for that course. You'd have thought it would be people just stepping into the role of management or doing something that they hadn't had any experience of previously. But it's not. It's actually established managers and people who are already leading teams and have been leading teams for some time that seem to want this kind of training.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. And just going back, even to this day, I often think to myself, do people really need these skills in leadership, managing performance, communication? Surely it should all be common sense. But, I would guess it's because we're absolutely immersed in these areas, you begin to realise that you're dealing with very intelligent people, but they just don't have what I would call common sense. They don't have the insight into how to manage people, to communicate effectively. They're very good in their own particular field, and I think we've built a business up from the point of view of working with really good people. I mean, we work with good nurses, good teachers, good lawyers, good machine operators, and notoriously, because they're good at what they do technically, they suddenly get promoted and they're put in charge of a team of people. And in essence, what happens is they move further and further away from the thing they were trained to do. And all of a sudden, they're no longer nursing patients, teaching kids, operating a machine, practicing law. They're doing all these weird and wonderful things that we train people in. And it isn't common sense.
Well, it's not, because it's a totally different skill set, as we know. And people are complex. So that suggests that there'll always be a market for leadership and management training, because as long as there's people that need training, there's always going to be a demand.
I'm going to throw another thing into the pot. Something that has surprised me is a course or a piece of training that people don't sign up to. And I'm thinking about the field of recruitment. I'm always astounded that people never really want to go on our recruitment courses. And it's maybe a bit controversial, but I don't believe that companies in the UK give recruitment the credence it deserves. And for a lot of people, recruitment is about interviewing. Well, interviewing is about stage 7 on a robust detective process to ensure you get the right people on board. And I can't tell you the number of times that I'm speaking to somebody, a client, about a member of their team who's not performing very well. I cannot tell you the number of times as they tell me the story about that member of their team. I think to myself, this is not a performance issue. It's a recruitment issue. You brought the wrong person on board in the first place. And even at interview stage, everybody thinks they can interview. And I get the impression that people sit down and have a lovely, cosy chat, but don't really address the issues that have to be addressed. So that's one that surprises me that people don't sign up to. But your point about self-confidence, assertiveness, couldn't agree more. I am always amazed at the number of people that we come across that you just think they're so comfortable in their own skin. They're so confident. They're able to assert themselves, and then you dig a bit deeper and you find out that they have got as many inhibitions as you and I have in our own particular way. And the phrase that comes up over and over again with people like that I meet is
imposter syndrome.
Well done. I'm glad you said that. Imposter syndrome. I've been helping people with imposter syndrome for the last 35 plus years. I just didn't know that's what I was helping people with.
Well, it's like a relatively new term, really, isn't it? And it covers many, many areas.
And people are using that term more and more about. And I think statistically, something like 98% of people have it. I'm just always amazed the type of people who have it. And the number of people that have it, which is quite interesting.
Couldn't agree more. Have you got any? Are you surprised at any of the training that you've been asked to deliver?
Well, as I've said, I'm always amazed at the type of training we are asked to deliver that I just believe is common sense.
Yeah.
Although some people do think it's not so much I'm surprised at that. I'm surprised even today at some people's attitudes to training. I think some people see it as a bit of a luxury.
Yeah, I mean, that is something I was going to ask you about, because some companies do see it as a luxury, particularly when the lean times come and there's a bit of angst in the marketplace. A lot of companies put training on hold. They see it as a luxury. They think it can wait till next quarter's budget or next year's budget, and they don't go ahead and continue with the investment that really the company deserves. What would you say to that?
Well, I would go back a little bit. Never mind when we're going through tough times.
Yeah.
And I've faced this from the beginning of my career in the training and development field, where the myth is, or the cliche is, training is a luxury.
Yeah.
And people always say the first thing to go is training, which is the training budget, which is maybe true. But if you strip it bare, it's not actually a luxury. In other words, if you own a gardening company and you've got a young new gardener, and part of their role is to mow the lawn or to mow lawns, you could have the most sophisticated lawnmower, all singing, all dancing. I would like to think with that young gardener, the first thing you do is show them how to use the lawnmower. Now, in everyday language, what does that mean? It means that before you let them loose with that lawnmower, you're training them. We maybe just don't use that terminology. So all we are doing, a lot of people think that training is separate to their job. You know, I've got to go on a training course. I can't afford to do that because I've got to do my job. If it's managed properly, our role is to provide training that helps people with their job. So I can strip it back to that. I would say I come back to it's the way we do it that I believe is important. And our philosophy is educate, inspire, and help people to succeed, help people to grow and unlock their potential. And I like all of that. But ultimately, it's just giving people the skills to hopefully be better at what they do in their role at work.
Well, it's more than just that, though, isn't it? It's also something to keep people motivated and to feel valued in the role. And you've also got to think about, if you're not invested in your staff and you stop training them, they are going to get fed up. They are going to get demotivated. They're going to look elsewhere for roles.
Yeah.
You've then got to think about what is the cost of having somebody leave the role. Nobody's going to be doing that role for a period. Then you've got to find the budget to cover the recruitment costs. Then you've got to bring those people on board, induct them, train them. What is that cost to the business?
Yeah.
But just looking at motivation, I mean, if I just go back to my career, I've had 4 employers during my career. Every one of them have been fantastic at training and development. I mean, I think back now, I mean, I left school really not with many qualifications at all. And I went to college for a couple of years. And again, I couldn't wait then to get into the world of work. I've been really fortunate that the NHS was so good. It sent me on a number of different training courses where I came out with national certificates, higher national certificates. Then I went over to the university. Again, another fantastic employer that saw the value in training the staff, investing in the staff. I came out of that with a professional diploma in management studies and a master's degree that I got back in 1997. I mean, so for me, that made me, as an employee, feel really valued, really motivated. And I then wanted to stay, and I wanted to go through the different ranks with those employers until eventually you take on new challenges. But so it shouldn't really be seen as a luxury. You know, you need to make people feel valued, to feel special, to feel that they're an integral part of your team. And if you do that, you get it back in abundance in terms of people wanting to do well for the company and to take on more responsibility. And that has been my experience.
Yeah, and actually that's good to hear, because I know in all our literature we do tell our clients how training can benefit their organisation. But we do get comments, and just as you were speaking, I have over the years, lots of companies have said that how the training that we've delivered has helped the company reduce the amount of time that they've got to supervise people.
Yep.
People can be empowered, made to be more autonomous,
Yep.
where productivity has improved. And again, that's a
Absolutely.
cliche, but companies have said that that's been a tangible benefit of the training that we provide.
Yeah.
Reducing staff turnover, saving the costs of recruiting, having to go through that recruitment process. And from a competitive advantage perspective, again, it's a cliche, but people do say the better trained people we have, the better chance we have of being, have an advantage with against all our competitors.
Absolutely.
It is, and I keep repeating to as many people as I can say, and have done this over the years. Training is not an add-on; it's integrated into the business, and it's designed to support businesses, not hinder them, as some people maybe think.
I think it's probably because I think that's probably why the business is successful, because you and I are both from an education background, and we both are fully bought into and committed to developing staff, and because we see the benefits and we see the advantages of it. And for me personally, I feel really proud to be a director of a company like ours, to know that the difference we can make to people back in the workplace, not just to individuals to help them progress through their individual careers, but also to help teams to build stronger businesses and to help towards innovation and all that kind of thing. And so it's not just that we've set up in business together, it's the actual business, to me, that has been important in this. It's something that we're both totally bought into. And that's probably why I think it's working.
I would agree with that. As you know about me, married to me, time is always a very important issue in my world. I never leave home without my trusty clock.
I've always said, Tom,
so
on your tombstone there will be a clock. That's for sure.
Nothing wrong in that. We are winding our way towards the end of our first podcast. We seem to have survived it. My mind is now fluctuating towards the double brandy that we poured before we left the house today. I've enjoyed this. I'm really looking forward to our future podcasts. I think we've got some great guests. I think we've got some good subjects to talk about.
I agree.
I'm not going to talk about season 2, which is very much about personalities that people can be interested in. But certainly season 1, we're going to be looking at leadership generally. We're going to be talking about women in leadership. Can't believe in 2026 we even need to speak about that particular subject, but we're going to talk about that. We'd like to talk about young people and leadership. And I think it might be quite useful to talk about, from your experience, the corporate side of leadership, along with leading people in an SME in a smaller business. So I think there's a lot of exciting things for us to talk about over the coming weeks in many ways. That is really concluding our first podcast. What am I taking away from today? I think, in summary of everything that you've said, Denise, I'm taking away that I'm an absolute joy to work with. What are you taking away from this?
That you're an absolute joy to work with.
Thank you. I always like to end on some type of agreement. I think we have survived. Are you happy?
We've survived.
Are you
And
pleased that this
actually,
is done?
It's gone a lot quicker than I thought it was going to do. So yeah, I've really enjoyed that.
Okay.
I think we've covered some good ground today.
Okay.
With still a lot more to come in the future podcasts.
Okay. Well, I've enjoyed it. I hope you have. Listening to our asset conversations. I would ask you not to forget to subscribe or to log on to our YouTube channel. That would be absolutely fantastic. But for the present, I don't think we have any more, unless you want to read out any more
No, I think we've
testimonials.
we've gone past that stage. I
Awesome
think.
was the word.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's been really, really good. And don't forget to subscribe.
See you again.